To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados de las
This here's
puertas.
a wild ride in the wilderness.
When invisibility doors change.
So today on Miles from Main Street, we are talking Reedy Creek because that's the big news coming out of Disney right now.
Oh my God, it's so good.
So much drama.
Yes. We're not just talking Reedy Creek. We're going to talk about annual passes coming back.
Woo! Rip my bank account.
Or we're going to do some trivia, right? I mean, we've heard from you guys and trivia is being kind of popular. So we're going to keep doing that until you guys tell us not to. So we'll get to trivia at the end of the show. And we have a new trivia contest for you guys to answer. So if you can get in on that, that'd be awesome. Definitely go out and share the show. Let everybody know that you can win prizes doing trivia with us.
Disney Trivia Podcast. Think about that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Disney Trivia. All right, so Reedy Creek, man. Like, Bob Iger is just one-upping DeSantis at this point. Like this, a couple of years ago when he was talking about retiring, he had mentioned that he was considering a presidential run, and like now he's going toe-to-toe with someone that's looking at running for president, and I think this is just so funny. Like, and I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, I just find this one-upmanship going on pretty crazy. And in my eyes, I feel like DeSantis has had egg on his face a couple of times now, and this is the latest time. So to back up just a little bit, Reedy Creek obviously is the improvement district that was granted to Disney when they were first coming into the state back in the late 60s. It basically gave them control of their own government. They can do and build whatever they want. But they do have a board that they would appoint themselves because it was people that actually lived within Reedy Creek. Well, the population of Reedy Creek is what, 50 people maybe? So there's not a lot of people that they would have to worry about. So anyway, fast forward, we have the Don't Say Gay bill come up, and Bob Chapek says some negative things about it. Ron DeSantis gets mad. They pass legislation that says that they're going to dissolve Reedy Creek. This is the first time that DeSantis ends up with egg on his face because he didn't do all the necessary research, and he found that the billions and billions of dollars of debt that Disney holds would then fall upon the taxpayers. And that's not a good look. So he then changed it so that they've changed the name of the district, although it's still the same improvement district. They changed the name, and now the governor gets to appoint the board of directors. Right before the change happened, they held 2 public meetings. And if you were paying attention back in February and March, the Disney media, they were focusing on the fact that they had approved building a new major theme park and 2 minor theme parks, along with some other things. I think there was 14,000 hotel rooms approved. But buried within that basically took all of the power away from the board of this improvement district. Mm-hmm. So late last week, the board started figuring this out, and they held a meeting and said, Disney passed an agreement. Again, this was done in a public forum twice. It was written about in the Orlando Sentinel, put in the news because they have to do that. And because I'm guessing the government thought that they had Disney at this point, no one was paying attention. And now, as it stands today, the agreement puts all of the decision-making to Disney, and the board just basically has to maintain the roads. That's the only power they have. Mm-hmm. So Ron DeSantis has now ordered his, I don't know, in Wisconsin it's an attorney general. I don't remember the correct name in Florida, but they've asked that office to look into not only civil laws that they may have broken, but also criminal laws that may have been broken. So, I mean, these former board members could possibly see criminal charges. I don't know that it's going to get that far. I find this entire fight fascinating. I just like, I love these legal tiffs that happen. Like, this is one of those. And if you watch the Provost Park Pass at all, Chris Provost said it's like two kids in a sandbox fighting over a toy. Because it's just one thing after another is coming about. And, you know, if Ron DeSantis wasn't looking to run for president, I really wonder if he would continue this battle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder if it may have died after the first thing that came about, where he found out all this debt was going to fall on the taxpayers. Maybe it just would have died at that point. But because he's trying to look powerful, he needs to keep running with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny to watch them go head to head, and the board of the formerly named the the artist formerly known as Reedy Creek Improvement District. You know, they're upset. They want the power they're supposed to have, and they are hiring not just another legal firm to look into this, but 4 legal firms, because they know how powerful the lawyers are and how good the lawyers are for Disney.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so right before we started recording, Mikhailo, I mentioned the Royals clause, and that's what everyone's focusing on right now. Like, this is the funny part. You cannot create a law that just goes in perpetuity. You have to create a law that ends at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the legal tricks that's more used in England than it would be in the US, but it is used in the US, is the Royals clause.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you say the agreement ends at a certain point after a certain royal dies.
Mm-hmm.
So the way they worded this, valid until 21 years after the death of the last survivor of the descendants of King Charles III, King of England. Okay? So currently, that descendant is Lily, the daughter of Meghan and Harry,
Mm-hmm.
and she is a year and a half.
Yep.
So if she were to die today, this agreement still will last for 21 years.
Mm-hmm.
And right, like, so what they're banking on is the political atmosphere to change at that point. There's also in there, like, so this part of the agreement is kind of in the air. This is the part they're going to, they're going to legally go after all of it. But this is the part that they have most grounds of challenging.
Mm-hmm.
There's another part that they put in there that basically states that Disney gets all these decisions for 30 years, and there's no changing that. Like, that's, as far as I've understood, that's law. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Done. But you never know what this attorney general could come up with as far as what these legal ramifications are. But we'll see where that goes. So, you know, the reason you use the Royals clause is, from what I understand, is that they're an easily traceable line. They are they're royals, so they have really good medical coverage, you know, like, they get the best treatments, so they live a long time. Queen Elizabeth was 96 when she passed. Her husband was 99, you know, like, so you're gonna get what you need out of it. So I'm just floored by this. I'm very fascinated. I can't wait to see what the next step is, what happens next. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court,
Mm.
and it becomes a freedom of speech issue, because the latest thing was on Tuesday. There was a shareholders call, and somebody asked Mr. Iger about it, and he was prepared for that. And he said, I think it was maybe 10 years ago, the government passed a law that said that corporations are people, and therefore,
Mm-hmm.
because of what they passed, that then falls under protections of the First Amendment as well. And just because their CEO or the company said something against a political rival at this point,
Mm-hmm.
that they should be protected under First Amendment rights. So I think it's going to get interesting. The fight is just beginning, despite some of these people saying the war is over. Like, this is just getting started, and it's just going to be more interesting as we go. So I can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, it's interesting for me. I'm not a big political person. So I wasn't really following a lot of that, like the small details of everything. All I really knew was that DeSantis was mad and he was going after Disney. And then I found out that Disney passed that resolution or whatever, that they were going to be able to keep power and everything. So it's interesting to kind of hear all of that explained and kind of how everything went down.
The other thing I find interesting is that this wasn't supposed to be retaliation
Mm-hmm.
in the eyes of DeSantis. Like, that's what he was trying to stay away from. But with the board taking legal action like this, I think it's going to look too much like that, and that's where I think the First Amendment is really going to come into play.
Mm-hmm.
Because these guys are mad. They expected, and I think some of them even expected to be able to play Imagineer a little bit, and Disney has taken that away. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes and how it ends. It's going to be a years long battle. So
yeah, it's interesting, and I honestly I hope just like nothing really happens with it, because I feel like Disney is doing what they need to be doing.
right.
So yeah.
I mean, and part of that one-upsman is, the Iger also said we're going to be putting $17 billion into the parks in Florida, and also creating 13,000 jobs. That remains to be seen. But when you've got the biggest employer and economic driver of the state into a battle, I mean, at some point, Ron DeSantis needs to declare for the presidential race, and when he does, he has to step down as governor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see another governor wanting to go up against jobs being created, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's a hard thing for voters to get behind. So um, it'll be interesting. I guess somebody's trying to change. I guess DeSantis is trying to change the law that requires him to step down. But we'll see. We'll see where that goes. So
Yeah. So the other thing we wanted to talk about, and I'm pretty excited about this, is annual pass is back to Disney. It will be, well, it's not back yet. It will be starting April 20th. All of the annual passes are coming back. That is the Disney Pixie Dust Pass, the Disney Pirate Pass, the Disney Sorcerer Pass, and the Disney Incredi Pass. Now, kind of going through all of these, the Pixie Pass is $3.99, and it has the most blackout dates, obviously, and it's Florida residents only. And going through all of these passes, The only one that is not Florida residents only is the Incredit Pass, which is the most expensive one with the least amount of blackout dates. I don't think there's any blackout dates. But yeah, there's the Pixie Dust Pass, the Pirate Pass, which is $749. Florida residents only. Reservation based admission most days, subject to blackout dates, including peak and holiday periods. Um, and then there's the Disney Sorcerer Pass, which is $969. And this one is actually eligible to Vacation Club members or Florida residents only. So if you're a Vacation Club, you can get the Sorcerer Pass, and obviously Florida residents can get the Sorcerer Pass. But that's also the same, where it's reservation based for most days and then subject to blackout dates. And then the Incredit Pass, which is $13.99, and that's open to all guests. And there are no blackout dates. With all of these annual passes, you get 20% off select dining and merchandise. And kind of in looking into this, they have payment plans that you can do. And I was kind of like, oh, that would be great. Like, I'd love to be able to do that. But looking more into it, you actually have to be a Florida resident to even do the payment plan. And they all all four of them have a payment plan option. So like, I mean, you could pay $19 a month for the Pixie Pass, all the way up to the Incredit Pass, which is like $108 a month. But that's only for Florida residents. I find that interesting.
Yeah, I remember when they first announced these new passes that's most of them were Florida resident only. And for you and I being in Wisconsin, we had to buy the Incredit Pass. So these prices you're quoting, are these ones that they've released at this point, or are these the old ones since the last time they sold the passes?
So this is on Disney's website. And under all of them it says available beginning April 20th. So I'm guessing this is what it's going to be.
Okay.
So yeah.
Very cool. When I saw that yesterday, I messaged you immediately, like, get your get your bank account ready. It's going to be crying.
Oh my God, my bank account is not ready.
It's awesome. I think if you're going to go out and get it, you better be ready. I don't know, what are they opening them at 9 a.m. on the 20th? I don't even know what time. Be ready like an hour before, get logged in, get into the queue, because if it's anything like what they did at Disneyland, they're going to be gone in seconds. And so you're going to want to be on there early and ready to go.
For sure, yeah. And we were thinking about this too. With all of the DVC members, out of state DVC members that may have canceled their annual pass, there's going to be a lot of those. And just people like Kristen and I who would love to be annual pass that want to do Incredit Pass. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of people that will be going in to buy these passes.
Well, and it's nice you mentioned DVC. They're going to do DVC sales on April 13th for those people so that they can get theirs before they start selling them to the public, which I think that's really good that they're doing that, because DVC people have been the loudest wanting them. And I think it's more important because DVC makes much more sense if you can get an annual pass. If you don't have that, then it's really hard to want to spend the money on DVC.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And when we were first looking into DVC, we wanted to do that. We wanted to pair DVC with annual passes because that makes the most sense. At that point, all you really have to worry about is, I mean, like food and transportation, because then all of those
exactly.
all of the most expensive parts of going to Disney have been figured out. The lodging and the tickets. That's always what adds up in a Disney vacation. So, and I just crunched some numbers. If we assume that a Disney Disney ticket is going to sit around $150. If you did the Incredipass, you would have to go 9.3 days for it to start paying for itself. So
And
honestly,
I would increase that to 10 days because you've got taxes in there. So
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess you really have to, and this is also something where if you're going for more than 10 days, A, holy crap, good for you. But B, that's when some of these annual passes come into play. Where it would make sense to get one. But yeah, just kind of based on how often Kristen and I want to go, it may make sense. Just kind of looking at it, and honestly, we just want to be annual pass anyways. But yeah, it would make it a lot easier to do kind of some of these spur of the moment trips that we want to do, and it would help with these longer trips that we want to do. I know we've been threatening to go on a trip over the summer, and then we also want to do a Christmas trip. So I think and another thing we were talking about was the fact that if we were annual pass, we could pump as much park time into all of our vacations as possible, because it's one thing to um go on a trip and be like, okay, like here are our park days. Our park days are full days. Like you have to get as much out of these full park days as possible, um because you're paying for tickets. Like you're paying probably $150 to buy these tickets. So you never really want like those weird half days to happen. But if you had annual pass, you could do that. Like if you knew that you were flying out super late on your last day, maybe you start the day in a park. So at least for us, it's having that ability to kind of like just go into the parks when we want to, and use this pass that way. Um, I know that would really help us with stuff like that. So it's just kind of having that like flexibility. Now, obviously, a you do need to have a park reservation, and maybe that's not possible for the park that you want to go to on that day. But still, like having that flexibility of doing things like that would definitely help.
I completely agree with all of that. I have there have been trips that we've taken that I've considered just getting one annual pass just so that we can get the discount. But we haven't done that yet either. So anything else on that?
Not really. Just my bank account's gonna be very sad. Yeah, it's I mean it's a lot of money, and doing the math and just kind of sitting down. I think we in this summer trip we want to do 3 days in the park, maybe 4. And then on the longer Christmas trip, we'll probably do like a week trip the way that we did before. And I think that last time we actually did like 6 days in the park. With going into some parks several days, which would be great also. Um, so yeah, that's like sitting kind of right around like annual pass starting to pay for itself. And then it just incentivizes us to go more often.
So time to do some trivia.
Trivia
Time.
Bring it
Really,
on.
really love that we got some feedback about trivia and that you guys are enjoying it. So please, keep the feedback coming. Let us know what you're enjoying. We will keep doing this. All right. So this week I've got 5 questions I'm going to ask Mr. Mikhailo. I have, of course, the Wonderful World of Disney trivia game. I've pulled some stuff up. Let's remind everybody that it's copyrighted 1998. So any question you'll want to think about that timeline. So we'll use these questions this week. I'm going to ask you 5 of them, and then starting next week, you can ask me 5. And I'll leave it up to you how you want to ask the questions or how you want to find them. If you want these questions, just let me know. I'll
Okay,
send
yeah.
over some cards. All right. So here's the first one. Which Epcot pavilion uses photovoltaic cells to produce 15% of the power required to operate the attraction inside? I'll give you a hint. This is a dead, extinct attraction.
I think I know, but I'm going to say the name that I know it by, and it may be called something else, like the real old version of this. But is it what was Ellen's Energy Adventure?
Yes, the universe of energy.
Boom. Universe of Energy.
I never got on that ride. When it was still open, I don't know. I guess I didn't realize it existed or something, but
Yeah, it's in a weird part of the park. I rode it once as Ellen's Energy Adventure, and I thought it was actually pretty cool. So,
yeah, I'm sad that I missed out on it.
okay, next question.
Next question. What song from Disney's animated feature Beauty and the Beast is sung by a different person in the end titles than in the movie itself?
That would be Tale as Old as Time.
I'm sorry, that isn't correct.
What?
This
No.
is Beauty and the Beast.
Is the song not called Tale as Old as Time?
It's called Beauty and the Beast. I
Oh,
guess,
the song is called Beauty and the Beast.
yeah, I guess I'll give it to you. Tale as old as
Okay.
time.
That one, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Beauty. It's you
Beauty
were
and the
confusing
Beast.
me because you were like, no, it's Beauty and the Beast, and I was like, that song's in that movie, right?
Yes, I was confused myself. So I guess you were right. I am wrong. I don't have a score this week, so too bad. Okay, this is some history for you.
Oh boy.
Who played Alice in the early Walt Disney cartoon series, The Alice Comedies? And I do have a multiple choice if you want it, but I'll give you the chance to answer without it.
I actually think I know this, but why don't you give me the multiple choice?
Okay, is it Barbara Gerald, Sue Nichols, or Virginia Davis?
Virginia Davis.
That is correct, sir. Virginia Davis played
Boom.
Alice. I don't think you guys saw it, did you? When we were in the Disneyland Hotel, there was a display of the Alice comedies.
Oh yeah, we took a picture over there. Kristen posed in it a couple times.
My kids kept going, "What is this? What is this?" But we got some great pictures by it. There was a spider hanging down, and I've got Mia standing under it, like looking up terrified at it. It was pretty cool.
That's funny.
At the beginning of the song, Can You Feel the Love Tonight in The Lion King, what two characters lament the loss of their friend to love?
Timon and Pumbaa.
Survey says Timon and Pumbaa.
Yeah.
Nice work. All right, last question. You've gotten them all right.
I know, yeah.
I'm so proud of you. You've come so far. Which Walt Disney World Resort hotel recalls the splendor of the Victorian hotels along the eastern seaboard of Florida?
The Grand Floridian?
Yes.
Boom!
You've
yay.
got it. A perfect score. There's a lot to live up to there, sir.
I know, yeah. I'm gonna have to
have
find some hard questions because Brian won the last one, so maybe I can win this one.
That would be difficult for you. All right, so here's how we're gonna do this trivia contest. Okay, I've got an easy one to start us off with. Please send an email to Miles from Main Street podcast at gmail.com, and all of the correct answers I'll throw into a hat, and I will give you the answer. Please let me know who you are in your email, and I will draw a name, a winner, next week on the show. I posted on Instagram. We have some really cool new keychains that we just had made up. You can see a picture of it out on Instagram and Facebook, and that and a sticker will be part of the prize package along with some other goodies. So please go check that out and let us know at Miles from Main Street podcast at gmail.com. Trivia question time. What is the name of Mrs. Potts' son in Beauty and the Beast? Like I said, I'm starting a little bit easy here. Go watch the movie if you need to. I'll take guesses until Friday the 14th. All right.
Sounds good. I'm liking the Beauty and the Beast theme because I'm currently doing lighting design for a musical, Beauty and the Beast. So that's fun.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Well, it's been a good episode. I had fun with the trivia, but like we always say, some live close,
But others don't.
so let's talk about it. We'll see you next time on Miles from Main Street.